Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 772. Now, this is being broadcasted live on YouTube, youtube.com/Joseph Clough, and it was recorded on the 30th of December, so just before New Year's Eve, or the New Year's Day, so New Year's Eve, and you'll be getting it in a couple of weeks, or a week or so. But it's going to be really important either way, because this whole episode is really about what are we going to be doing to plan our year to get the life that we want, to be the person that we desire, to achieve and receive the things which will serve us, our family, and our community. And ultimately why resolutions, in my opinion, aren't that good. Like, when we really think about it, how many of our resolutions have we stuck to when it comes to making changes? Usually the first couple of days, week, and all those kind of things, it's okay. But they usually fizzle out. Not for everyone, of course, but I would say, if we're being realistic, a lot of resolutions don't really go long term. So what should we do instead? Well, in my opinion, we've got to look at the deeper picture of why it's important to make the changes, not just to make a decision based on the time of year. It is ultimately a new year and a new day, but every day is new, right? We make decisions all the time, but why aren't we being held accountable for them? So if I were you, if you were to make a new decision when it comes to what you would like to achieve, be very specific in the beginning. How do you want your year to play out? Be genuinely honest with yourself. How would you like to experience the things that you want out of life? Is it going to be mainly in your health, your relationships, your career, your finances? Is it going to be even deeper than that? And by deeper, I mean your identity. Who do you want to be? Because most people I work with, most people I speak to, people who listen to my work, at a deeper unconscious level, they don't feel worthy. They don't feel deserving. They don't feel enough. They don't feel capable. They fear rejection, or fear the failure. They fear what other people think. They try to get external validation from other people by the actions that they do. So if you have a resolution to achieve something, but if your identity is showing up in that I'm not fill in the blank, how is that resolution ever going to really come into fruition? Because the decision to achieve something in a resolution is really just an action, right? It's an action. It's a decision to act out something. And it's hard to be disciplined when our identity is saying, I am not enough. I'm not worthy. So rather thinking about the big goals and dreams, which are good to have, think about what is the resistance that is happening within you, that if you were to change, if you were to resolve, if you were to release, learn, and grow and evolve, would not only get that goal and dream from that resolution, but even so much more. You see, the goals and the dreams that you want are beautiful and wonderful, but focus on what it will give you if you were to play out as the identity that you are, as in the power of I am. I am worthy of my desires. I am deserving. I am capable. I am love. If you have that identity, the goals and dreams will appear before you so much easier because you won't be resisting at an unconscious level. You can consciously on the one hand go, I really want to do X, Y, Z, but if your unconscious mind on the other hand is going, no, you're not enough, you're not worthy, then it just becomes a situation where you fail because you don't believe that you're capable or enough to achieve it. Makes sense, right? Like, you can really want something, but if you're saying unconsciously, I'm not worth that desire, you're going to self-sabotage. And guess what happens next? You don't get that goal, you don't achieve that dream of yours, and then it just reaffirms the identity of, well, that's why I'm not enough. That's why I'm not worthy, because I failed again. I got rejected by the dream. Things didn't work out, so it must mean I am not enough. So it becomes this self-fulfilling, limiting belief to reaffirm that that is why we are like we are. And the more data you have of those experiences, and by data, I mean the data points, because if you go, well, I failed, I'm not enough, I'm rejected, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, in the future, well, that becomes more data to go by. Your unconscious mind looks back at those past situations and goes, well, that's why you're not enough. Because this happened in the past. Who are you to achieve the wealth? Maybe you have a financial goal of maybe $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, or $1 million a year, whatever it is for you, right? It could be small, could be big, it doesn't really matter. But if you're coming from that place of I'm not worthy, deserving, or enough, then of course you are self-sabotaging because I'm not worthy of that abundance. Same thing with relationships. Maybe you want that loving partner, but if you don't feel worthy within yourself or deserving within yourself, or you don't feel enough, or you don't feel loved by yourself, then how can someone else fulfill that objective, that experience, because you'll be rejecting it? So, if I were to think about making a new decision this year, if I were to think about those goals and dreams, yes, have them in your mind. But rather decide to go for them. Decide on, and it is going to be really important actually, ask yourself this question. It just came to me. It's a good thing about doing lives. Things just kind of happen. Who do you need to become to get what you want, right? Not saying, well, I want this and I need all these different things to happen to make it happen. I need the economy to change. I need this person to help me, that person to do this, for the sun to be out nice and bright and to go for that run or to go to meetings. I don't know why I would rely on the sun to do that, but you know what I mean, external things. Ask yourself, who do I need to become? Who do I, identity, need to become in order to receive my desires? And if you put your attention there instead and focus on being that person, focus on how you can elevate yourself, your present self even. In my program, I have this idea of like, there's this 1.0 version of us and the 2.0 version. Well, the 2.0 version is going to be the person I want to be. But if I'm where the 1.0 version, well, there's a gap there. What's the difference that makes the difference? Who do I need to become to achieve those desires? What kind of thoughts would I be having? What kind of beliefs would I have that will allow life to flow to me, rather having the challenge, in a negative challenge, I mean, like fighting for it, where it just comes to you without resistance. Now, of course, there will be resistance in the beginning. But at the end of the day, if you have New Year's resolutions, there's a lot of resistance because you're trying to switch something over straight away without the psychology and mentality of knowing your worth. But if you focus on your worth first, or your ability first, you then start to acquire the necessary resources and adaptability to be able to achieve those things that you want. And if you know me by now, sounds like a song, but if you know me by now, you have to think about not what you want as well, but notice what it will give you. I've said this before. You may want money. You may want that million. You may want that £5,000, dollars, euros every single day or every single week or every single month. And of course, it is true, you want it. But you really want what it will give you, right? What does money give you? Well, it gives you freedom, gives you protection, it gives you security, it allows you to help your community, it allows you to help your family, it allows you to have a legacy. Like, that money is a gateway to your desires of what comes because of it, right? So many people focus on the thing that they want, but the thing that they want is not the real thing that they want unconsciously and consciously, or a deeper, meaningful, loving and living experience. You want what it will give you beyond having received that money. Same thing with relationships. Oh, I want a relationship. Well, of course you do. But why do you want that relationship? Maybe for intimacy, maybe for sex, maybe for going around the world, maybe for having fun. Like, there's so many different ideas of relationships which are important to have because they're values of ours which need to be fulfilled. But they're the things that you want. The relationship is the gateway to that answer. So if you start to think about and operate from those values of what you want, or you begin to focus on the feelings of what money will give you, and we can change it for our career, and then assume the identity of knowing that you are worth that, which is trickier because it is unconscious. Our beliefs are unconscious. You don't decide consciously your beliefs, otherwise you'd unchoose them in this moment from I am not enough to I am enough, or I'm not worthy, or money's bad, money's good. You just flip it straight away. You don't consciously decide the beliefs about yourself and the world around you. They are held at an unconscious experience. They are held like a, what's the word I'm trying to, like an iceberg. You think the tip of it is what you see, as in that's what it is, but beneath the water, beneath the ocean, beneath the sea, there's so much more depth to it, which is more secure and big. So it is a challenge to let go of the identity, but it's not impossible. You see, I used to feel not enough. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel deserving. I didn't feel capable. And that identity for me stopped me doing good things at school. I only got 6 C's. All the rest were D's and E's. And those 6 C's, a lot of them were like physical activity and or art. It wasn't really the real knowledge stuff. It was more physical, right? And more creative. It caused me to drop out of college. In business as well, right? And I run a business now. But only once I assumed the identity of who I really was on the inside. And I really mean that. Who are you on the inside? The deepest part of you. I think when you came to this world, you knew that you were enough. Or you didn't even have the concept of not being enough. You just were, right? You didn't have the identity of I am not enough coming out the womb. You just were. You were present, you were in the moment, and therefore you were love, and therefore you were one, therefore you were whole. And if we were to then articulate that as an idea, it would be that you are enough, that you are worthy. So it's not like you've not had it before. It's just the experiences that we've gone through, some of them very traumatic, some of those very stressful, I would call them significant emotional events, that then produces that identity, that produces that belief system, and then that creates the history or the story that we're not enough. So, rather focusing on the goal and the outcome of a resolution, make this moment, make this day, make this year coming up, or if it is the new year for you right now, to focus on your identity. Now, you can do that alone. It can take time, because we are undoing probably decades of identity-affirming beliefs of not being enough, worthy, deserving, or good enough. I really believe it comes down to a lot of those identities, which then produces the fear of rejection, the fear of not being able to do X, Y, Z, the fear of success, the fear of failure. I think the identity then produces those symptoms that we feel. It produces, therefore, anxiety, the insomnia, the self-sabotaging behaviors, the sedation of life of social media, or eating or drinking and all those kind of things. That sedation just keeps us stuck. Where really, if you want to break free of that sedation, if you want to break free of the anxiety and all those triggers and associations, those symptoms which show up, go for the root cause. If you were to see a doctor and you were feeling unwell, the doctor would ask you, what are you experiencing? What are the symptoms that you're having? Now, in that moment, you'd go, well, doctor, I've got this ache, I got this pain, I got this fever, I got this shiver. Every time I eat, I feel bad. You like list out all the symptoms. Now, if that doctor just turned around to you and just said, hey, here's our plan of action. I'm going to give you 1 pill for the headache, another pill for the sore throat, 1 for the stomach, 1 for the ache, 1 for the pain, 1 for the congestion, 1 for every time you feel bad and you like eat something and feel bad. migraines, headaches, all those things. Before you know it, you're having to have like 10 pills every single day, maybe twice per day for some of them, just to manage the symptoms that you're experiencing. Now, if you're like me, you'd probably go to that doctor and go, no way am I going to do that. I want a second opinion right here. And you're going to find someone, maybe someone who you've been recommended, maybe you've seen reviews, maybe you just resonate with them in some way. And then you go to that doctor and they ask the same question. They go, look, what are you experiencing? What symptoms? And you list them all out again. But in that moment, once the doctor has elicited the symptoms, they will then diagnose the cause of those symptoms. That's what good doctors do. But the problem is, we as humans, we operate metaphorically like that bad doctor. We try to treat what we feel the most. Right? We try to solve the feeling of the symptoms. So like, where it be a migraine, because psychosomatically, if we're under stress, our body can take us out of the game and give us a migraine. It can give us chronic fatigue. It can give us aches and pains. It can give us all of these types of things. But if you just try to solve that, you're not going to really get anywhere. You want to focus on the core. And in my opinion, it goes down to your identity as a person. When you begin to look into that and solve it. Now, as I said, you can do this by yourself. You can, absolutely, in every single way. Now, there are quicker ways. You find someone to solve it with you, right? What's the point of just kind of figuring out by yourself? Go straight to the person who knows exactly how to let it go, who's maybe experienced it themselves and overcame it, and they do it as their job. I, for one, if something breaks down in my car, something like real bad, I'm not going to be learning all how to redesign an engine or fix an engine or to be able to do all those things. Now, I could do, but how long would it take me to do so? Will I do a good job at it? Probably not. If we go down the doctor route, we can do surgery. We're not going to do our own self-surgery, right? We're going to find someone who's been doing it for a period of time, who is competent and successful at doing so. I like to say the same thing about all areas of my life. If I want to get better at anything, business, I'm going to hire someone good at business. If I've got some physical ailment, I want to find the specialist to be able to do just that. I want to be able to find the person who's going to serve me, who's going to help me, who's going to allow me to be the best version of me, so therefore I can achieve those goals, and those resolutions that I made don't just fizzle out. And not only do they not fizzle out, I get what I want, but also I get all the other things. You see, if you focus on the one thing of that resolution, right? You go, I am going to decide and declare I'm going to quit smoking, or, fill in the blank. Fine. But not so fine. Because we know we do those behaviors for certain reasons, where it be habitual, where it be social, where it be stress, where it be contemplation. Like, there's lots of reasons as to why we do certain behaviors, intentions, you could say. But if you try to just solve that, it usually just comes back. But if you solve the deeper thing, not only do you solve that symptom, that behavior, but suddenly you're showing up in all areas of your life at a deeper level. So you may be going, well, I don't feel good enough in my job. I feel like an imposter, and that creates a lot of stress, which then bleeds into your relationship and bleeds into your health, and it bleeds into your finances, all those kind of things, right? It's not just one thing. But if you solve the core, not only do you step into that job role and just boss it and own it, knowing you're worthy and deserving, you speak from a place of absolute congruency and self-certainty, where people take what you say as absolutely this is true, because you are the leader in that experience. When you start to know your worth, then when you go back to your home or your family, or if you're looking for a relationship, you bring that identity of I'm worthy of that too. So really, don't put your attention on the thing, put your attention on yourself. When you solve that, you will transform everything. I firmly believe, from a productivity way, from a business way, from a relationship or health or career or finances or our solving of our issues is to focus on the one thing that changes the everything. Don't try to change everything whatsoever. Change the one thing, like the good doctor. Solve the root cause and the symptoms will disappear because those signals are not needed from an unconscious level. They were just trying to point you to that root cause. We just didn't have the knowledge of how to solve it. We just felt what we felt and we try to solve that, but then a specialist goes, as a doctor, no, that's just a symptom. But if you solve the root cause, that's where you shine. And therefore you start to do all the things you want. So in my business, I try to focus on the one thing which is going to make the biggest impact. And it could be a podcast, it could be a live stream, it could be my main program. Like if I go all out on that, I can really serve the world in a way that's going to make me feel lifted up and supporting those around me who want to be in the ecosystem of absolute self-worth. But I'm not going to focus on the many things because we only have that one period of time. And within that period of time, we have units. Now, if you're spending all your units on all the different symptoms, it's going to take forever. But if you put 100% of those units on the one thing that's going to grow your business, that's going to transform your health, transform your relationship, transform your identity on that one thing, you then change the everything. So to me, that's what I would do instead of a New Year's resolution. Don't focus on the actions. Focus on the actions, obviously solving the root cause, but not the things which don't really mean as much. Because we only do those things as coping mechanisms or symptoms that try to protect us. But if you go all in on the root cause, life will never be the same again. And not only will it be for weeks and months, it'll go out into years and decades. Imagine if you were free of the story of not being enough. If you just broke free of that association, if you just knew in your heart, but in your identity, that you were absolutely worthy, from your mind and your body, from your heart, that you are worthy, deserving, and enough for the rest of your life, what would happen? And that's a question for you. How would you wake up every day? How would that transform your health? How would it transform your relationships? How would it transform your money and abundance and your career or business? Go off out into the future. How much time have you saved with the weight lifted from your shoulders, knowing that you're more than enough? That you're more than deserving, that you are love as a way of being in this world. To me, that electrifies me. That makes me go, if I live the rest of my life knowing I was worthy, deserving, enough, and all the good things which come as a consequence of that, which can be the physical things like brand new cars, it could be new jobs, it can be from the external to the internal for the rest of your life. As you look back on your life, having made that decision to solve the one thing, with all the freedom, with all the impact that you've made in the world, the ripple effects that you didn't know that you were making just by being an example to everyone in your life that you are worthy, deserving, giving them permission to experience that as well because they see an example, they see evidence of what can be done. That's what sometimes people only need, the evidence of a different future, the evidence of a different reality. When you come from that place, you will not know the ripple effects which go far and wide. But it really does come down to you. Either way, however you go about solving this, just know when you do, you will live, love, life. You'll be full of ambition, mission, and vision. You'll be full of purpose. You'll be full of love. You'll be full of loving yourself and loving your neighbor, loving those in your life, loving the people you never even met yet. But you're showing up because you are being the authentic you, knowing you're worthy, deserving, enough. So make that decision today. Now, of course, you can go ahead and do that all by yourself, as I said. If you're talking about feeling like an imposter or not feeling worthy enough, and you're sick and tired of those symptoms showing up every single day, Whether you wake up in the morning and you're dreading the experience which is coming your way. Whether it's you can't go to sleep, or you're dreading Sunday night knowing you've got to wake up on a Monday to do it all over again. If you're just sick and tired of not feeling worthy, deserving enough, and you want to break free of that, of course, you can go ahead and apply to work with me personally and my team. And go to josephclough.info/talk. Now, when you go there, you're going to see a calendar. You're going to book a time. It's a one-to-one Zoom call with us. And therefore, you show up. There's a little application form to prepare us. But on the one-to-one call, we'll get clear of what you want to let go of, what you want to achieve, what's really getting in the way. And we'll come up with a plan to make it a reality, all within 8 weeks. We want to serve those who are ready to be served, who are ready to go all in, who are invested, and they just know for the rest of their life, if it meant that freedom and it allowed them to gain everything they've always desired and wanted and all of that greatness, that's the kind of person we love working with. You just got to be ready. You got to be ready for change. You got to be ready for a new tide. You got to be ready to be different, to be resourceful, to be dedicated. Because when you do that a little bit of time, and it is little, like 8 weeks, out of the whole of your life, past life, as in your past, present, all your past, in other words, since you came to this world, to all your future, 8 weeks is literally very, very small in comparison. But when you do that, you make the change for the rest of your life, and also you change how you experience and notice and associate your past. You learn, you grow, and you also realize that maybe that pain, those symptoms, became your wake-up call, okay? So once again, if you want to go ahead and apply to work with us, josephclough.info/talk. With that, I look forward to speaking to you this new year, or if it is your new year, I look forward to speaking to you on a new episode coming out very, very soon. But make 2023 the year of knowing who you are in this world. When you do, everything else flows to you. With that, I look forward to speaking to you in a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.